A student who racked up an $8,000 Afterpay debt. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee, although I've got cool water today, and we're going to have a look at this article that was sent to me by a viewer, and they said on the Discord channel, yeah, Florian, you're all over this. This has your name all over it, so you know it's going to be a good one there. So this is Buy Now, Pay Later regulation is essential to protect young Australians from debt, experts say. And the example they give here is pretty stark. But here's the question before we even go through this article, okay? Now we have political parties here in Australia calling for the voting age to be lowered. They want 16-year-olds whose brains haven't even finished developing with very little lived experience to be able to shape the future of this country. Now, I would make the argument that we should probably look to previous civilizations that have succeeded much longer than this little colony has, and perhaps maybe lift the voting age a little bit, so you've got more maturity and experience. Now, if we have people calling for such simplistic protections to stop people from making foolish decisions and learning some valuable life lessons, should they also get a say in the country if they can't even manage this? Just putting it out there, guys. Just, being the grumpy old Florian that I am. So let's have a look at this one. Buy Now, Pay Later regulation is essential to protect young Australians from debt, experts say. For Olivia, the appeal of Buy Now, Pay Later is ease of mind. I guess it smooths your cash flow when you've got money coming in. Although they seem to be, these organizations seem to be going down left, right, and center, aren't they? The 19-year-old student is currently based in the ACT. She says she uses the credit service once a month at most and relies on it as a way to reduce her spending while purchasing what she needs. If I'm doing a big purchase, I usually try to break it up instead of seeing all the money come out of my bank account at once. She tells ABC's Radio National's The Money. So instead of saving and spending the money, she's tricking herself into thinking she's not spending as much by using Buy Now, Pay Later. Until recently, Buy Now, Pay Later was very popular, particularly with young people. Some estimates suggest more than 60% of Buy Now, Pay Later's users are aged between 18 and 34. So I am not in the demo. I've never used Buy Now, Pay Later. I only use, I haven't even used my credit card for like a year now. My business one, I transferred it all over and I got one of those FPOS tappy credit things. So I guess I'm not in the demo, guys. However, there have long been questions around how safe Buy Now, Pay Later is to use and whether more needs to be done to protect the 7 million Australians using the largely unregulated service. Now, this is going to be a problem. Sure, some people are going to get into a mess. Some people are going to struggle with this service, but others are going to use it efficiently and smartly. But because we want to protect everyone, there's going to be an imposition of requirements and regulations and maybe even a banning of certain parts of this sector. We'll have to see how the legislation pans out, and that's going to remove choice and opportunity for people. And that's the Australian way, guys. Rather than educate, we regulate. That's how it is. Because we're just stupid plebs. We're all too dumb to think for ourselves. Well, judging by the number of people that vote Greens, it's probably right. So let's keep going. For example, Buy Now, Pay Later late fees can reportedly equate to interest rates of up to 50%. And according to ASIC in late 2020, 1 in 5 Buy Now, Pay Later customers were missing payments. Yeah, they're not your friends. They have to do it to make money. It's like everything. They're not advertising to you. So that's the risk you take. What's most concerning is who is being drawn into this debt. I mean, what do you think's worse, Buy Now, Pay Later, credit cards, or payday lenders? I mean, they each target different sectors of the market. I mean, even a payday lender would be better than going to a bikie, wouldn't it? Or stealing stuff and going to a pawnbroker. What's most concerning is who is being drawn into this debt. People who are really under serious financial stress are taking out Buy Now, Pay Later, and that's the real concern, University of Sydney economist Andrew Grant said. So, what is the appeal of buy now, pay later for young people? What are its problems and what is being done to keep them safe? It's frictionless. University of Newcastle sociologist Julia Cook has researched buy now, pay later's appeal for young people. She says one reason is the service is less threatening perception. I guess, I mean, they use the apps and you're thinking you're not paying interest. It's not like a credit card. It's not boomer tech. It's new. It's cool. Hip and stuff. Young people view buy now, pay later as fun and frivolous. The phrase that kept coming up was a little bit cheeky, she said. A little bit cheeky, buy now, pay later. You know what the problem with buy now, pay later is? The real problem is that they are not allowed to offer a discount with the deals they sign up with these companies. And this is the one thing where I think we need to have government intervention making this type of deal illegal, is they are not allowed to offer a discount for cash. We should be able to, you can do buy now, pay later, but you have to pay the 3% premium or whatever extra the retailer has to pay the buy now, pay later service. And if you go in there with, Johnny Cash, you probably get a discount. But then again, I should be careful because if we push to that, what you'll have is you'll have a discount if you use a FPOS cash card, and you probably have to pay a premium to use physical cash because it's a pain to deal with. So, and maybe that's what we need to do. Let businesses pick and choose and let the market sort them out. And in contrast, they view credit cards, bank loans as serious, as really scary, as something that could ruin your life. Well, a mammoth of buy now, pay later debt could also ruin your life, couldn't it? But at least you're young, okay? The thing is, a 19-year-old, you make some stupid mistakes, you piss away a bit of money. Those lessons you learn are better to learn when you're young because you have a long time to recover, to build up, than if you're 50 or 60 making those mistakes, or you've been making those mistakes your whole life and you've never learned a lesson. Maybe because you've had a cushy government job and don't know what real life is. Dr. Cook points out how frictionless signing up for buy now, pay later can be. Frictionless means that you don't need to tell the surface what you're intending to use buy now, pay later for. You don't need to disclose your aims. In many cases, the amount of compliancy checking is quite low, Dr. Cook said. So you're able to sign up, link to a card, and start spending really quickly. Unlike credit cards or bank loans, these products ask for little information from users when they sign up. Yeah, they want you to sign up. In her research, Dr. Cook found that people under the age of 18 being able to sign up to buy now, pay later, despite not being legally allowed to do so. It also leaves the door open for the situations of coercion, where someone's making an account on someone else's behalf when they probably wouldn't want to be or shouldn't be. This lack of compliancy checking, it is complacent, has also resulted in users with potential credit issues signing up for buy now, pay later. How is it possible for a young woman on youth allowance of $522 a fortnight ending up with a $8,000 buy now, pay later debt? $8,000. The Chief Executive of Financial Counselling Australia, Fiona Gerthy, said. Well, yeah, I guess you can. And how much of that $8,000 is pissed away on rubbish? That's the problem. It's not like taking $8,000, sticking it in an ETF or a real estate investment trust and just forgetting about it for 40 years. That'd probably be a smart thing to do. Pay it off real quick. Not financial advice, but you know what I mean. No, this is debt taken for frivolous bullshit. I bet you it's dresses and handbags and shoes. And I don't know what young girls or women buy these days. Look, I'm sounding so old, aren't I? Mr. Grant said his research also found users with maxed out credit cards were signing up for buy now, pay later. You gotta get rid of the debt. One of the comments I love seeing on the channel the most is when people say how I'm so happy I paid off my mortgage. I'm so happy I paid off my debt. Those are the encouraging comments that I see from people, because that's what you want to get. The sky is even bluer then. Every debt you pay off, every credit card you pay off. Because it's just a constant drain on your ability to get ahead. More than anything else. It's this debt that people put around themselves. We need to the problem with this buy now, pay later shit, the real issue I have with it is the young people are attracted to it. It's making debt cool. So they're smart enough to stay away from credit cards. They're probably smart enough to stay away from personal loans. But this has suckered them into it. Often that has meant when it came to choosing which debts to pay off first, the related fees for credit repayments were not a priority. What we did find is that credit card repayments were lowest on the consumer's pecking order of I want to pay this, he said. Really? Oh, it depends on what method you're using. You can use the snowball method or the avalanche method. Maybe they've got a whole lot of smaller buy now, pay later debts, and they just want to clear them all out first. That makes sense for the psychological win. But you need to stop using the service. So the persistent criticism of buy now, pay later is how small purchases can spiral into larger debts. That's the trick. That's how they want to make money out of you. This is essentially enslaving a whole lot of people into indentured servitude for consumerist crap. You're buying shit that's come off the boat from China that's probably worth nothing, imported here, expensive price tag. You're borrowing money to do it, and then you're working your ass off to pay this debt and then complaining you can't afford a house. Awesome. The Australian dream. Dr. Cook says this is particularly concerning for young people who may not be across required obligations of buy now, pay now. Pay later. Buy now, pay now. Young people did not necessarily understand that if they missed payments on their buy now, pay later, beyond being charged a late payment fee, they could also be pursued for payment. I mean, how could you not understand that? If you cannot understand that at 18 years old, there's obviously some mental capacity issues there. How we talk? We talking like the bottom 5% of people who probably have developmental delays, or are we talking a significant chunk of people who are probably the ones there protesting for Generation Extinction Rebellion or something like that? I could see it, you know. That's it. They've probably racked up this buy now, pay later debt, buying purple spray hair and super glue to glue their hands to the road. And they didn't necessarily understand that their account could eventually be referred to debt collectors, she said. Well, this is how you learn the hard lessons, making some stupid mistakes. Sadly, that has to happen to some people. It's not a good thing. It's not a pleasant thing. We could argue, okay, we need more education to teach people that. We don't. The curriculum needs less in it. There's too much in the education curriculum now. We need to pare stuff out of it. This is just a parent's job. It's a parent's job talking to your kids about this stuff. Dr. Cook says half of the young buy now, pay later users surveyed didn't have a good sense of what to do if they got into trouble, if they were unable to meet repayments. If they were experiencing hardship, they didn't have any sense of where to seek help, how to seek help, and what that might look like, which we also found quite concerning, Dr. Cook explains. Now, I wouldn't know where to seek help. I'm sure a lot of the viewers of the channel, you'd have no bloody idea where to go to seek help. Your seeking help is going to your emergency fund. Your seeking help is selling stuff around your house you don't need to raise the money to pay your debts. It's not to like ring up the organization and say, I can't make the payment or something like that. I'm assuming, and I'm only assuming that because I've read 50 million of these articles over the last couple of years. This can result in service debt, which could drastically harm those in lower socioeconomic groups. A couple of years ago, ASIC was seeing people who were getting buy now, pay later and then struggling to pay it off. They'd be going without essentials to say, I want to pay off my buy now, pay later debt. I guess I can't eat this week. Well, that's a lesson you learn. If you're stupid enough to get such a big debt for buy now, pay later that you have to go without food for a week, you're going to remember that lesson. And hopefully you won't do that again. I mean, come on, that's just insane. It is ludicrous to get to that point. What are they spending on buy now, pay later? The only useful thing, I guess, I mean, you could use it to buy car batteries if you needed or do repairs. I don't know. He says that often this group of people were taking on buy now, pay later loans and then relying on financial loans to pay off that debt. Miss Guthrie says she's concerned that buy now, pay later products can create debt spirals, which force vulnerable people to rely on it for things such as food and electricity. You might think it's a small amount of debt, so you make one payment, then you're going to make another one And you might have gotten some more buy now, pay later in between, and so it snowballs. It's just the same as saving, but it's the opposite. One little payment here, one little payment there, one little payment there. So, regulations. Regulations are coming. In November, Treasury released a paper that agreed control measures should be put in place. A lot of Australians are racking up unaffordable debts, Financial Services Minister Stephen Jones said at the time. It seems to us that it makes sense to have some credit controls in place. The minister said he hoped legislation for regulation would pass by the end of 2023. One option being considered is self-regulation. However, industry figures were not convinced on the viability of that option. The idea that we would allow an industry to self-regulate when it's providing a credit product which can cause harm to a number of people is just ludicrous, she said. Why? Maybe we need to. I mean, keep an eye out, guys. At the moment, the unions are all big about getting rid of stone products to remove the danger of silicosis. There's already products on the market that have none of that risk. They already exist. We can already specify them on jobs. They're a little bit more expensive, but the market provides. What you need to do is you need to make sure that the builders and clients don't change what's specified. So you're speccing a product that's more expensive, but it doesn't have that risk. There you go. The market has already provided a solution. It's it's right there. It exists. So watch them try and take credit for it. Anyway, back to this. The other two options for regulation under consideration involve incorporating buy now, pay later into the National Credit Act, the legislation designed to ensure credit and lending facilities engage in safe practice. Some argue that a partial inclusion of buy now, pay later into NCA is the smartest approach. The University of Sydney's Andrew Grant describes this as the Goldilocks option. We have to think of how the regulation will affect the industry overall, and it's a degree of proportionality. If I'm buying a $100 pair of shoes, do we need to do a full responsible lending and credit check? Yeah, I mean, oh boy. But you know they're going to go overboard. They love their regulation. Finding the right balance where buy now, pay later industry can still exist without being overly regulated is, I think, what most people will be thinking is about the happy medium. Well, just set a maximum cap. Say that consumers can only have a maximum $1,000 outstanding at any time for a buy now, pay later product. There you go. There's self-regulation there. Do it. If you want to go above that, you have to prove greater capacity. Not everyone agrees, and critics say that legislation should be focused on protecting vulnerable users. I can't speak anymore. It's a strange argument to say that we should allow a business to continue if it's actually harming people. Is the business harming people, or is the people's inability to deal with this harming them? I mean, this is an ABC article, so of course they're going to spin it a particular way. No one's forcing you to use this product. No one is forcing you to use this. Whether businesses continue or not is not the issue. That should be at the forefront of the government's mind. It's whether the products are provided safely and the credit actually helps people rather than harms them. Okay, so let's have a bit of a talk about this one. So there we go, guys. Calls for regulation of the buy now, pay later industry. I don't know. I could go either way. I can see they can make it so onerous that this opportunity may be missed by some people. And there are people that use it without any issue, take advantage of it and can, save some money and have a bit more flexibility and may be able to afford things and not go without because this provides them the opportunity to smooth out their cash flow. Of course, there are some that can't handle it, obviously. Honestly, I would say let the industry self-regulate, or if they're putting a hard cap on certain tiers of people. If you've got an income below a certain level, you get a hard cap. That's all you can have outstanding at any time. What do you reckon, guys? Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one. Do you ever use buy now, pay later? What's it like? Is it any good? Let us know. As always, check out my other channels, Heise BIM and Heise Does. And if you're a fan and enjoy the content I create here, you can support us on YouTube or Patreon. Use our referral links, buy our pocket squares, or call us if you need an architect. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. I will see you all in the next episode of HeiseSays. Bye for now.